All right, good evening, Facebook. Wow. Yes, it is that time again. Woo! I'm ecstatic. Thank you for joining us. Shifting mindsets. Yes, yes, yes. What a fabulous show we have in store for you this evening. OMG. Let me see. Let me start tagging some people as you all are coming in and getting connected with us. And then we just going to start doing what we do. So just give us a moment. I'm just going to be chatting while we're tagging. So do me a favor though, if you would be so kind to go and tag some names, share to your page, and let's let people know that we're on. And then we're going to start our conversation. We have an awesome, awesome speaker. Hey, good evening, Miss Gladys. How you doing? You just had a birthday not long ago, I believe. Happy blessed birthday to you. And thank you for joining. Embrace the change. And at Embrace the Change, we uplift, we encourage, and we empower. Embrace the Change is a multifaceted facility. And in that facility, we do just that. In each aspect, we uplift, encourage, and empower. Prior to the pandemic, we would go downtown DC and team up with others and help feed the homeless. At one time, we even one winter we took some gloves and hats and scarves and blankets, and so we had a singles outing and singles. Not a retreat. I wanted to say retreat. No, we did not have a singles retreat. We had a we had a singles event and a roundtable, and that was really really nice. Um, had some nice conversation there. It was awesome, and I'm really looking forward just to getting back to some of those kind of things. We've been really looking at how do we get back out there to feed the homeless again, because as we've been going downtown, it's been a little challenging connecting with the homeless. The city continues to move them around, block off the areas where they were. And so the places we would go to feed the homeless is not the same anymore. And I was just talking to a sister at church, and I said, "Hey, where are we going to? How are we going to?" And so we've been trying to figure that out. But as soon as we do, we would definitely post that to give you all the information so you are able to participate either in person or sending items. I had one lady, I met her at the post office, and she had this huge bag of just all the things you need, right? Just um, soap and toothbrush, toothpaste, just all those different types of things, etc. So we are just grateful for those that help and assist this ministry in so many aspects, and we're grateful to that. We're also about to launch some other new things, and I'm not going to have a spoiler alert, but when it is that time, we will definitely, definitely make sure that you are a part of that announcement.
Amen.
And let me see, we have a every other Thursday is when we are live doing our show, and we really feel the stirring and moving that at some point this probably will be every Thursday. But I tell you, we're definitely booked out through November, so I bless God for that.
Amen.
For people such as Carla, who has said yes, I would definitely take a seat on the show.
Yes. Yes.
I I count it an honor to be able to sit in this seat, to be able to bring on others, because it could be, you know, it's yielding to the hand of God in order to do such a thing. And I don't take this lightly at all. I do not. Let me see. Here we go. It takes a little moment. I see the numbers starting to go up. There they go.
Yeah.
That old Facebook. I tell you, it takes a little minute, but I see them moving now. Making sure, and I gotta have my own little list here. I'm working off. Um, the other thing I wanted to share is that if you feel that you have a topic of interest, please feel free to inbox me. I would be happy to discuss with you that opportunity to be on the show. There's no, you have to have this, or that to be on this show. Not at all. So please reach out. We definitely would appreciate that. Good evening. I see my mother has joined. Good evening. And all right, are we getting there? And so shifting mindsets. When the Father gave me this idea, it really stemmed from a few years ago. I was doing a series on Saturdays, and I was doing that live in between the post. I would do a live video, and that's before there was a Facebook Live. We would do our videos and upload them, and in doing that, that's when I just felt the Father get me back to that. And this was years ago. And I look back now at some of the memories that come up from like 2015, et cetera. And I'm like, oh my goodness, wow. You got how you can see yourself evolve over the years. So I definitely bless God. And I knew it was time for the shift. And being able to move with the shift as the Father gives it to us is definitely essential in this time and this season. I will ask though, if you are just joining the show and you're watching the replay, do me a favor and hit hashtag replay, and you can probably skip till about um, maybe 5 minutes into the show, and then that'll get you to the juicy part. We really, really dig in. Good evening, Missy. How you doing, sis? And that way you can skip through all of this portion right here. All right. So we're not gonna prolong the time any longer. We're gonna jump in and get started, and know others will begin to join us. Those that are on, if you would do me a favor and um, send send up some hearts for me and tag some people and share, and let's get these numbers up. I really would appreciate it if you would assist me with that, and that way we can start the conversation and keep rolling. All right, so I am Dr. LaShonne. I am the founder of Embrace to Change. At Embrace to Change, we uplift, encourage, and empower you to embrace your change. All right, and welcome to Shifting Mindset Show. At Shifting Mindset, we have mindful conversations. And the conversation this week, this out. Ooh-wee, the conversation this week, when I can't speak my pain. My. I tell you, it was through a mutual friend that connected us. And She said, "Oh my goodness, my spiritual daughter." She was like, "You gotta hear, you gotta hear her." I was like, "What? Okay, okay, I'll check her out. Sure, no problem." And I began. I looked at the books, and I said, "Oh my goodness!" And we talked, and we connected. And I'm gonna tell you all, um, Elder Carla. Oh my goodness, we talked for what, almost an hour. Our first
Yeah, we,
conversation.
yeah. And we could have talked longer too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we could have, but I had to go.
Yes,
But I tell
ma'am.
you this, she has written 2 books. She has another one in the queue, as I like to call it. This is Elder Carla Fry. She is the survivor of sexual abuse, human trafficking. She's also a CEO of her own publishing company. She's a mother. She's Gigi. Okay.
Yeah.
And I tell you this, this is just on from my spiritual eye, and that is she's a force to be reckoned with in the spirit realm. You know how there's some people when you are doing battle on the street or somebody approaches you, there's some people you want with you, and some people you like, I don't know how they're gonna do. They
Yes.
might just be well, I'm gonna tell you, just from what I've seen and just from what we've said, I'm pretty sure I think I want Carla with me if we had to go to battle. Let's go. Oh, come on.
In the spiritual and the natural.
Spiritual and the natural. Let's
Yeah.
go. Let's go. Come on. I'm ready. We're not trying to be cute.
Yes, ma'am.
We definitely thank you. And look, you guys sent me to I had the books right here. First book is Silence Behind the Silence. I mean, look at that image right there. That speaks for itself. I could preach a whole sermon on this right here, on
Yes.
the picture alone. Okay, y'all didn't call me to preach tonight, but amen.
It is in the atmosphere, okay?
It is. It is. I felt it. I felt it earlier. I said, "Oh, you hit me." I did. It said, "Oh, but when it's time to shift," I said, "Oh, I felt it jump in my belly." Amen. All right. And her second book, She Speaks Her Silence. Well, that's her backdrop right now, but that's She Speaks Her Silence. That eyeball right there. Okay, I think I've given enough intro. Please give us a hello, and then we'll get started with our conversation. Elder Carla.
Amen. Hello. Thank you so much for having me here to be able uh, to speak to God's people. I count it an honor and a joy to be in your presence. And like I said, God didn't make any mistakes at all when He put us together. So I'm truly grateful to you and thank you, because this platform, and it's a lot of people don't want to speak about their pain, and let alone try to tell people exactly what their pain is from. So that's what we want to do today, and to speak to that pain and to let that pain know that they can no longer stay, because we're no longer co-signing the silence.
See why we was on the phone for about an hour. See, we are no longer co-signing the silence. No, it's done.
Yes.
And I tell you, I thank God for choosing me to have such a platform. Um, there's so many platforms, and when I say this, I don't want to sound as if I'm degrading, but there's so many platforms that's doing the hype. I'll just leave it like that, or preaching, etc. And we need all of that. Don't get me wrong, but then we also need the space where a safe space where we can take time to heal.
Yes.
How can we continue to live life? How can we continue to minister? How can we continue to be a strong leader if we're doing it from a broken place, if we're doing it while we're bleeding on somebody else, and we won't be effective. And think about it. If I'm trying to help them while I'm yet bleeding, ah, see, that's why I can't mess with you. Okay. It, if you try to help someone else. So we need such a platform to be able to just say, you know what, I'm going to let my hair down. Or, hey, take your wig off
Come
and
on.
let's just talk
Yes.
for real, for real. Let us have a real conversation about some real issues, some real stigmas, and let's put it out there
Yes.
so we can heal. And a lot of the things that we're talking about have happened to us. And I think back to, coming up, and I'm reaching for my little sticky note here. Here we go. Coming up when, oh, there it is. I wanted to say the generations correctly. So, my grandmother is part of the silent generation.
Mm.
My mother is a baby boomer. I'm part of Generation X. And then we have the millennial. We know about the millennials. Okay, amen. All right. So I'm gonna stop right there. We know Gen Z, etc. But so the silent generation was just that.
Yes.
They were silent. And the baby boomers what began to come forth.
Mhm.
But it was during that time because the silent generation was told to be quiet, then that the baby boomers, some were speaking up, but there was still silence. But the Generation X was the threshold, was the one that began to open the way for now the millennials who say what they want, feel how they feel. There's, and they're open. But it was because the path had already been laid.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And so we can't, and I'm only spending the time on the silence because she speaks her silence.
Mhm.
And it took a moment to come up out of that silence. We're told to be quiet, even in families. We're told not to talk about it, not to say anything. Talk to us, Carla. I feel like, I could go on and on. And I know we can't really dive into your entire, they have to buy the book.
Yeah, they have
They got to buy the books, but we definitely want to give them a little tidbits here and there. Get
what
them in.
goes on in this house stays in this house.
Yes, that
That's
one too.
heard. That's what we hear.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
even that generation of silence, the baby boomers, when they did speak, it fell on deaf ears because nobody
Mm-hmm.
still wanted to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Those people that were abusing were those in the village that were supposed to protect. So
Mm-hmm.
who do you go to when those that you are supposed to go to, those that are in authority, are the ones that are violating you?
Yes.
Who do you run to?
Who?
And I was brought up in the church,
Mm-hmm.
so you can go to God. Well, at that particular point, God was allowing this to happen to me. So why am I going to run to him?
Mm-hmm.
So we turn away from the very person that is there to help us to heal. But we think you are allowing this to happen to me. So why would I go to you?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing, just not with God, but with the people in the village. I'm supposed to be able to come to you because I'm hurt. But why would I? You're the one that's hurting me.
Right.
So that there's nowhere to go but inside. And so that's what
Yes.
I did. Everything went inside. Those
Mm-hmm.
seeds were planted inside
Mm-hmm.
uh, good soil because I wasn't born bad.
Right.
So as those seeds were planted, and those bad seeds were planted. There were so many of them. For me, there were so many of them that it allowed the soil around to be infected with bacteria as well. So it still grew, but it grew dis it grew hatred, it grew
Mm-hmm.
unforgiveness, it grew
Mm-hmm.
pain, it grew hurt, and and it grew behaviors, and because
Yes.
of that growth, we exercised that outwardly.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, in my home, in my situation, negative attention was just as good as, not having no attention at all. So I gravitated to do what I wanted to do. I wasn't getting the love that I needed. So I decided I was going to get some kind of attention, which meant getting beat every day and put in a basement and, things like that. And not being able to be nurtured as I needed to. So a lot of things festered inside,
Yes.
and they
Mm-hmm.
festered for years and
And
years.
the danger of those things festering on the inside, because then they sit there, and even mold grows,
Yes, yes, it does.
and it just festers and sits and sits. And at some point, I mean, you talk about it here, and I can't wait to see what the third one is saying. Oh my goodness, the third book. But having all of that on the inside, and then being able to put it into a book. People don't really understand how tough that is. To take your story and then put it into a book. But then, how do you get to the place where you're able, you internalize everything, but then how do you then get it out? Now, I've seen some where they're lashing out, some go to violence, some go to drugs, etc. Whatever it is.
My strong will and strong mind would not allow me to become addicted. Okay, I was not going to be an addict, but what I was going to do is what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Me.
Mm-hmm.
What me consisted of was my own business.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care what nobody else said. I was going to do what I wanted to do. It didn't matter to me that people didn't like me. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I didn't like me either. So it didn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
I was always transparent. I didn't have to lie about who I was. I lied about other things to
Mm-hmm.
hide. I lied
Mm-hmm.
that I was, I didn't steal something, or I didn't lie about something. And the thing about being in the situation that I was in, I became a professional at whatever I did.
Okay.
Some people will tell a lie and forget the first lie that they told.
Mm-hmm.
They get caught up.
You're
I
right.
remembered every lie that I told the first time I told it, every little tidbit and things, because I had
Mm-hmm.
practice time, because I was alone. I was alone in that black abyss that was keeping me um, without anything. I didn't have
Mm-hmm.
love. I didn't have nurturing that I felt like I needed, or that my other sibling was getting. And so, because I was put in a situation of darkness and a situation of being alone, it allowed that false love to be said. I love you. That's well, I wanted to hear. It didn't
Mm-hmm.
matter who it came from. I needed to hear that. So when they gravitated to me and said, I love you, that I gravitated to them and would do anything to make sure I continue to have that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a lot of things that at that moment of being a child that you don't really understand and comprehend, but you know something's not right, and you do
Yes.
whatever you can to get it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever you do is wrong. So you stop on one side and you try to go around a different way to get it. And then that's where those pedophiles are. That's where those family members are that want to do nothing but use you for their own good, or the teachers, or
Mm-hmm.
they're there to pick up those pieces that and the validation that you didn't get where you were supposed to.
Right.
So it becomes uh, the abyss widens. So it's just not enveloping you at home, but everywhere you go, that abyss is there, that black hole. You're constantly falling, but you've gotten used to the fall. You've gotten used to there not being any walls, and you just do what you do.
Ooh. Now you done said two things right there. Oh my goodness. So used to the fall. So used to there's no other way to say that, but so used to the fall that you look for that to continue to happen, to always be there, because that has been the one constant. And, as children growing up, right, we look for consistency.
Yes.
Then, how do we then get out of that? And just as you said, right, you feel like something is off, but you're yet still a child, right? So, how do you then convert that? And it takes, someone else, or, an adult, in order to transform that over. The other thing you said that kind of stuck out was that validation. And, I think about that, even as myself as a child, you look for that validation. And, when you don't have it, or, you don't get it, it'll draw you to other places and other things. And sometimes people don't come back. They go so far down a path, they don't ever come back. And, that path, whatever that path is, that's why I'm not really giving it a name, because for each person it's different.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. My path changed. Um, as much as I wanted to go back,
Mm-hmm.
and still today,
Mm-hmm.
the answers are still the same. You want that, but you know that you can't go back. So the different paths that I tried to go on still had the same ending. It was that same roadblock. You're nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to be anything.
Mm-hmm.
You should have been dead.
Mm-hmm.
I love your sister more than I love you.
Mm-hmm.
When are you going to die? No matter which way I tried to go, my different paths, even being good, I
Mm-hmm.
said, oh, I'm going to be good. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And it was always met with negativity. And it didn't matter if it was just home or anywhere else. It was just negative. I'm like, what is wrong with me?
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to die,
Mm-hmm.
and I tried. So um, I thank God that it didn't work.
Yes, we thank God it did not.
It didn't
Yes.
work, but it I wanted it to.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted it to, not just as a child or a young adult, but as an adult as well.
Yes. And I think about so many of our children, and especially our teenagers and those young adults. Because I've seen the shift where it's more teenagers and young adults now that are in this space where they're feeling like they don't belong. They're feeling like they don't have this connection. They feel like they're, as you said, in this abyss all by themselves. Nobody understands. And it's always this negative, negative, negative. And on so many occasions, they just thought of ending their life. And as we even seen in 2020, there were, well, even before 2020, let me not even put it on 20 on the pandemic 2020. Before then, there were some preachers that had committed suicide because just the pressure was too much. And we as a people, especially the church, needs to have more open door policy in a safe place to deal with this, because it's too many
Yes.
that's dealing with suicide, and we're not dealing with it, and we're not being a safe place to help. But it's after the fact. It's like, oh, had I known, and it's but the signs are there.
I
I
think
want us to do better.
yeah,
I just
we have to, because a lot of the hurt comes from the people in the church,
hmm
and we don't want to address that. But the church is where you go to be healed. It's supposed to be a place. When I was coming up, they said it was the hospital. You go
yes, I
to
remember
the
that.
hospitals, going to
Hmm
church. But a lot of times nowadays, you go to the church or to the hospital, and you come out just as sick when you leave.
hmm
Nobody is addressing, nobody wants to talk about those things and get down to the root of a person's issue.
hmm
And I found that a lot of that is because the head is having issues too. And they
Yes,
don't want those covers to be lifted
off.
off of their issues.
hmm
But
This
it's
is
not
true.
about you.
It's
It's
not about you.
it's not about you. You're in a position of
hmm
leadership. You're in a position to help build kingdom. So
Yes.
why not, let's build kingdom together? Yes,
hmm
have some issues, some things that you need to work on and get taken care of. Let's do this collectively as
hmm
a unit, unify, so we can fight off these demons of suicide, the demons of prostitution, there's demons of doing things that we use to sedate ourselves
hmm
from the pain.
Yes.
And let's stop hurting people because of
hmm
the hurt that we have. That's the only way we're
Yes.
going to fix that, is if we understand and acknowledge what has happened to us.
hmm
And that's the only way we're going to heal. How are you going to heal somebody that's not hurt?
Right.
And they have to know that it was them. Everybody knows somebody that's been abused,
Yes.
whether it's been themselves or they know their family member or a friend next door, or a cousin, or somebody. They know somebody, but we choose
hmm
to sweep it under the rug because it's not me.
hmm
But what happens when it is? What happens
Right.
when it's your child? What
Right.
happens when it's your child's best friend and your child's best friend commits suicide? How do you talk to your baby about that?
hmm Yes, we definitely have to do better. And it's coming to a place of being able to be transparent without being judged.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, that was a good place for a comment.
Yes, I am very transparent. I was telling the other day,
Woo!
I will stand bucket naked and tell people about what has happened with me, because I'm not ashamed
Mm-hmm.
of what has happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here for such a time as this to be able to help somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And if it helps one person, then everything that I went through, and not everybody is going to ever know the whole of it, because I will not tell it, because I can't.
Right,
What
right.
they do know and what they will hear from me is truth. They'll
Mm-hmm.
see it, they'll feel it, they'll know it, and they'll know that I'm there to help them through whatever they're going through. I stand on the wall and tell people about what has happened, but more so than that, that you can be healed.
Yes.
There is deliverance, there's
Yes.
hope, and there's peace.
Mm-hmm.
You have to acknowledge and you have to forgive. And that's one of those things that I still struggle with, is the forgiveness. And not necessarily the forgiveness of the people that have hurt me, but those people that I've intentionally hurt too.
Mm-hmm.
Those people that
Yes.
I've hurt unintentionally.
Mm-hmm.
There are some people that I did it on purpose because I wanted to, because it made me feel good to hurt someone because of the hurt that I was feeling. But maybe just because I was just, look, I'm just done. It's time for me to just go out and just do what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I can feel better about things. I got to ask God to forgive me for that.
Right.
There's a list of people. There's a long list of people that have hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
List of people that I need to ask to forgive me too.
Yes.
So we
And
have.
mm-hmm. You've spoken something very vital there. And we always talk about forgiveness and, how we want this person to come back and, tell them, they hurt me or they need to bring that forgiveness to me. But there are people that we need to go to
Yes.
as well. It's a two-way street, most definitely. Because forgiveness, as you were saying, right? It helps me, but then it's that two-way street.
Yes.
When I forgive, I'm able. I had a small group here on Facebook, and I was sharing, a story, and we were talking about forgiveness, and I shared a story with them, and I said, you know what? Once I did this step, and that person isn't even alive anymore, but once I went through this action, and they said, wow, and I said, yeah, let me tell you, that helped me tremendously.
Yeah.
It was because, I released it. And when I did, it helped me because you know what? You're steadily looking for answers, looking for, how come and why and when and on and on and on down this rabbit hole
Yes.
where just some things you're not going to get a straight answer to and a satisfying answer. Let me say that.
Yes. That's true.
You'll get an answer. It won't be a satisfying answer.
That's true. And I'm actually okay with now. I say, well, I'm getting better, not having people to come up to me and say, I'm sorry, I know what I did.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I can forgive them and honestly and truly forgive them,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter whether they come up and say anything to me or not.
Yes.
Forgiveness is for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for them. It's
Mm-hmm.
for me.
Yes.
And if God is going to forgive me, I have
Mm-hmm.
to forgive others. If
Mm-hmm.
I don't forgive, God's not going to forgive me. And I
Mm-hmm.
need forgiveness every day,
Mm-hmm.
every single day. So I have to learn and to see people as God sees them. I had one pastor years ago tell me that, and I looked at him like, dude, no, I'm just not, because they're just wrong. People are just dirty, and they need to stop mistreating me and things like that. And he said, you need to see them as God sees them.
Mm-hmm.
Never thought that I could. And I didn't understand that until recently.
Mm-hmm.
They're still a soul. They're
Yes.
still a soul.
Mm-hmm.
If there's something that I can do to help them, I have to do that. I
Yes.
don't know who all is attached to me. I don't know, but I do know that people are looking at you and watching you, and they
Yes.
know
Mm-hmm.
what your situation is. Because, like I said, I'm very transparent. I talk about my sexual abuse,
Mm-hmm.
whoever needs to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very open. So they know what's going on. But the thing is just talking to people, helping them to understand they are still a soul. They need to be saved. They need
Mm-hmm.
that understanding. They need to know that there is hope and a joy, and there's peace, and there's a multitude of love that comes from
Yes.
God, that when he permeates your soul, and when you say yes unconditionally to him, that's not on the condition that you won't have to deal with a person. That
Mm-hmm.
person that has hurt you may be the very one that you may need to pray for,
Exactly.
and talk to, and help
Mm-hmm.
through. So we have to continue to be about God's business,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that is, because your yes is not on a condition that everything's going to be roses, because it's not.
Say that again.
It is not. No, it's not, but
Woo.
it is for kingdom. And that's,
Yielding and being obedient unto the Father will definitely open doors and bring his manifestation unto us.
yes.
But it doesn't mean that, everything is we have to endure,
Mhm.
pressing forward, having that stamina, um, the stick to itiveness,
Yeah.
all of those different traits, staying focused,
Mhm.
you know, throwing down the distractions.
Yes.
The list goes on, right?
Yeah.
But I tell you that you said a mouthful there, that this forgiveness, it is for us, and it builds us, because, and you know what, it gets us to the place to where now, and it's what you're doing, right? It's what I'm doing, it's what some others are doing, where you get to the place to now you can go and help someone else.
Mhm.
You're
Yes.
like, oh, you've dealt with sexual abuse, you come here, let me help you through this part. Okay, you're gonna have to deal with this and that,
Mhm.
if it's that kind of conversation, or it may be a top, middle level conversation, like, okay, you've been abused, then you need to pray, etc., forgive, and so on. But being able to now help someone else,
Mhm.
that's the next level.
Yes, it is. Yes. That's where we are. That's where you are.
Hmm.
That's where I am.
Yes.
And going higher in that, because
Hmm.
there are so many people in my area, but there are so many people outside of the area. And because we can do these things, and I can reach California, and I can reach Africa, and I can reach Texas and New Jersey by not leaving the comforts of my home, and
Hmm.
still get the point across to people about
Hmm.
the abuse. We've come a long way, and we still need to do that. We still need to have these platforms to be able to do that. And so I appreciate you and what you're doing, because again, it's not easy talking about things that you yourself may have gone through as well. Not just abuse, but it could be something else that you're dealing with. It could be something as well, not major, as a bankruptcy that has hurt you so much that you can't, you couldn't even buy a piece of cheese with a with with
Hmm.
time. So it gets bad. And so when you're able to feel what someone else is going through, that
Hmm.
passion comes through the airways, and it allows people to see you for who you are, and you're standing there again transparent to be able to help anyone that needs help. And we will present Jesus to you, because if it had not been for Jesus, if it had
Yes.
not been for him,
Hmm.
I know where I would be.
Yes.
I know exactly where I would be.
Hmm.
And so it helps to be able to have these platforms, and to be able to talk to people, and to go to them, and to for them to see. One thing I'm looking forward to being able to share in person.
Hmm.
It's one thing that you can do things on Zoom or on StreamYard or wherever, Facebook, but when
Hmm.
you're in an area, in a setting where people are able to see you, to reach out and
Hmm.
touch you, they
Hmm.
see your face, not just on a screen, but you're there
Hmm.
in front of them. That does something for
It's
them.
different.
Yes, it is. It's very
Hmm.
different.
It
And so
is.
I'm waiting for the opportunities to come back. So,
Hmm.
because he's opening some doors now that I didn't knock on, and I'm grateful for those doors to be open. Um, I'm grateful for those seeds that were planted that are now growing, and I'm seeing the what God is doing with those seeds that have been planted 3 or 4 years ago, actually. So it's so very important to continue to do whatever it is that we need to do to help those that are in need, no matter what they are. It's sexual abuse, human trafficking, domestic violence.
Hmm.
Went through all of that,
All of that.
and then some. You know,
Yes.
so
And
it.
something else you spoke about, how the church is the hospital,
Mhm.
But then there are some that have gone to the church for the hospital, but have left worse off.
Mhm.
And we're not saying every church is that
No, of
way.
course not.
So please don't take that and run with it. But just acknowledging. But I will say, in the midst of this, we need to show more love.
Yes. Yes, we do.
And I really feel that's the one thing that's different between what I would call the church of old.
Mhm.
Um, between now, I don't know, there was a phase somewhere in there where, you would come in and between the door and sitting down, and church was almost family, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
there was more love was shown. And we really need to get to that place. I was going to say get back, but we don't need to be back because some things we don't need back, but
Yes.
we need to show the love of God at a new level, and and then let it take off from there.
Yes.
Because you know his love, it'll draw.
Yes, it does. Mhm.
We can get up. There are times. One time on the job, I was talking to a coworker, and I just could hear the spirit of the Lord telling me something to share with him. And I began to say, just sharing a word with him about himself and some great ideas, etc. And he began to cry. I didn't say God said and the Lord, Father, thou art, any of that stuff. But whatever was in my spirit, I shared. And he said, "Oh my goodness, you just summed up my whole life."
Wow.
I said, "Well, we just thank God." Now, then I just said that. I said, "We just thank God, and you be encouraged," and left it like that.
Mhm.
The point I'm really trying to make is that we have to show love.
Yes.
And in showing love, whether you are on the subway, whether you are in the grocery store, there are people around us, and if it's put in your spirit, go ahead and say it.
Mhm.
But show that love. You never know what that person is going through.
Yes.
What's happened. There was one time we were in a restaurant, and we felt this urge and began to speak to the server, and talking with him, and left a little extra tip,
Mhm.
and came back, and he was just so emotional, but like that was the thing that he needed, right? We didn't have a clue, but we just felt and we did it, just being obedient, right? We were talking about being obedient. So there are times when the Father is leading us. We have to trust and know that, okay, God has given me this, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to second guess. I'm not going to try to figure this thing out. Okay, I'm going to encourage this young man. I'm, but all of it is in love. And
Yes.
I feel like that's the difference today. Instead of us trying to, one person trying to be on top of the next person or get ahead, should I say,
Mhm.
or push another person down to try to bring themselves up.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be about
No, it's not a competition at all.
that.
And about being in the church, God needs to feel welcome in his own home. So if God is love, we can't come in there any other way but
Yes.
praising and worshiping him in his own house. Because you're not going to come into my house and not speak to me and walk around me and do something else. That's not going to happen.
No, no, no.
But we do that in God's house. We do that. We come in with attitudes. We come in with um, pains and nice nastiness and those things. And
Mm,
we forget where we are. And we need to show the love. And if you're not empowered like you need to be, this is the place where you can get that, because
yes.
God is there. He is at home. And all he wants is for us to be willing to receive the love that he has for us.
Yes.
And in receiving that love, you can speak your pain. You can
Mm-hmm.
speak your hurts because that love is there without judgment.
Yes.
It's there. And he will always send someone to you that you'll be able to feel comfortable with so you can get through, go through those things. The Bible says, yea, though I walk through the valley. It didn't say for you to stop, collect $200. No, he said, we're going through. We're going through.
Mm-hmm.
If Jesus went through, we're going through. Our going through is not as bad as what he went through. He paid a price he didn't owe.
Yes.
We could never pay the price that we owe.
Oh no. Woo.
Never.
Mm-mm.
So we have opportunity. We have the means. We have everything we need. All we have to do is have a willing mind to serve God
Yes.
unconditionally, to receive what he has for us so we can give it to someone else. And that's
Mm-hmm.
love. If we have love, man, we can, that covers a multitude.
A multitude. We can go so much further.
Yes, we can, because I'm not in competition with you, because what God has for me is for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I can praise God because of the blessing that you've received. Because if
Yes.
he blessed you, he blessed me too. Go ahead.
Yes.
Yes, we can do that.
That's
So
right.
it's exciting when he blesses, because some people say, well, he's not in the blessing business anymore. And we don't see, the lame being healed, the blind and things like that. You just because you don't want to see things, you're negative about things, and you go in with that attitude that God's not gonna, he ain't showing up, he's not gonna do this. And so we don't have an open mind to receive those things that God has for us. So when we open up our minds and open up our hearts and
Yes.
feel the love of God, because we want that,
Yes.
then we're able to go forth and show love to somebody else. And it doesn't matter what they smell like. It doesn't
Mm-mm.
matter what they look like. It
Mm-mm.
doesn't matter what race they are.
That's
Love,
right.
it doesn't have a race. It is universal.
It is.
And I need love. I need someone to say, you're all right, boo. Everything's going to be okay. And I love you. And if you need something, you let me know. That
Yes.
feels good. I may never need them, but because they said that to me and they were genuine, that gave me a little bit, oh, okay, let me get up off comb my hair. Let me do what I have,
Right. Right.
so I can move forward. And that's
Mm-hmm.
a help to me. That's
Mm-hmm.
a help to all of us. And we need,
Most definitely.
yes, yes, we
Wow, you said a mouthful right there, and just remind me of that word earlier that came forth, um, that we need to be able to be transparent without being judged.
yes, yes,
And how do we do that? We show love one to another.
yes.
And remember, we haven't always sat in this seat. We have not always sat in this
Girl, I
seat.
ain't always been saved.
Okay, let's start there. Ooh-wee.
I ain't always been saved. I'm grateful for what he's done, because I know where he's brought me from.
Yes.
And most of the people that I know, they know too. It's like, there's a change in you, and it's
Right.
a good change.
It's a good
Some of them
change.
still try to, get you to go to the club, and, we're doing this, some of our friends is I don't need to do that. Thank you, but no, thank you. But let me, invite you to church, and you can come
Mhm.
and come to church and, Bible study on, Tuesdays or Wednesday, whenever we're having it, And
Mhm.
so it's like you have something and you've been doing the same thing for years and you're in that
Mhm.
same place.
Mhm.
But God that's living water. It moves.
It
It,
moves.
it moves. It shifts.
Ah,
And I'm not staying still. I'm not stagnant, because
no,
water
no.
stagnant gets bacteria on it and it
Come
begins
on.
to smell.
Yes.
And we need to be a sweet smelling savor to the nostrils
Ooh.
of God. So when he moves and when he shifts, We need to be able to shift and move with him.
Yes.
But there's so many people that are willing just to stay where they are because they're comfortable. We need to stop being comfortable in our
Exactly.
comfort.
It reminds me of a word the Father had given me, that we need to get out of routine.
Yes, absolutely.
It
Absolutely.
was not meant for us, and for some reason, routine is comfortable.
Yes, it is.
And it is comfortable. Why is it comfortable? Because we don't have to think.
No. And we know the outcome. Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what's gonna happen.
Mhm.
It's like
Just
walking
like
in
just
my
like driving home, right? You
yeah.
you you go the same route.
Mhm.
But then purposefully there are times when I will take a different route just because.
Yes,
And
yes.
when I do, now I'm paying attention. I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
Mhm.
Okay, wait. Oh, they doing construction over here. You're always doing construction in these. I feel
Yes.
like it's one more hole they fixing the road, expanding. I don't know. Anyway, good old DC. But um, we got to get out of the routine.
Mhm. Yes.
And basically, what you said, right? We have to shift that running, flowing water,
Mhm.
being in it, a part of it, ready to move.
Yes.
And that's how we grow,
Mhm.
not just sitting in this one spot.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
I'm right.
My goodness.
What I want to do, what I want people to take away from reading the books is
Hmm.
knowing that God is still blessing, no matter
Yes.
what you've gone through. Because I'm sure there are people that have done things that um, nobody may ever know. But you need to know that God will forgive you, but you have to
Hmm.
learn to forgive yourself. And then
Hmm.
when you have gotten that forgiveness and you know that God has forgiven you, then you need to dedicate your life to him because he's
Hmm.
the life giver. We have to start worshiping the creator, not the creation.
Yes.
And God will see you through whatever you've gone through. I didn't want to live because of what I had gone through and had continued to go through was too hard for me. But he made a way of escape for me.
Hmm.
Some things were good and things it got a little bit better. And then when I thought everything was all hunky dory and it was okay, then I got pulled back in and it was harder for me to get back out. But God was still there in the process of moving me back and forth. So now when I'm able to speak to people in those dark places where I love to reside, that I can walk in there freely in the dark places
Hmm.
has me. And I know that's where he's going to have me going back to. I don't have to stay.
That's right.
I can bring those out that want to come out. I can talk to them about the goodness of God. I can I can relate to them because they see me because they knew me when.
Hmm.
And I appreciate the fact that they knew me when, but now let me introduce you to me now.
Yes.
Introduce you to who God is within me now.
Hmm.
So you don't have to stay where you are. We have choices. You don't
Yes.
have to stay.
Hmm.
And I'm going to give you a reason not to stay. But there's
Hmm.
a lot more reasons for you to stay
Hmm.
because it's comfortable. So I'm going to pray that God makes it uncomfortable for you to be here.
Yes.
And we're going to pray and we're going to keep moving because there are so many more. But I'm going to make sure that that person that I speak to knows about the goodness of God. They need to see me.
Hmm.
And I'm going to make sure that they do. With God's help, I'm going to make sure that they do as much as I possibly can do. God gives me strength. That's what we're going to do. And
Yeah.
these books are going to get me to where I need to be. But
Hmm.
God is all up in these books.
Yes.
He's yes, you want to hear about the book? That's fine. And I'll talk about the books and my story. But within that story, that's God. God
Hmm.
me. God allowed me to move out of that situation. God helped me. God saved me. God saved some folks. from me. So I'm not going to forget that either. So God saved me, and he can
Yes.
do it for you too.
Amen.
So important.
Oh, I love this. When I can't speak my pain.
Yes.
And that title alone says so much. When I can't speak my pain. Um, and we referenced it to, your story and sexual abuse, survivor sexual abuse and sex trafficking. But there are others, just as you said, right? Domestic violence. There are some where they've gone through divorce. There are some that wanted to kill themselves because life was just tough as a kid.
Yes.
There are some that, and the list goes on. I don't just want to just start naming stuff, right? On and on and on. But when you can't speak that pain because it's internalized, we have to then get it out.
Mhm.
And how do we do that? We need help. We need the Father.
Yes.
But I have found it also helps to have someone, and I've said this on, other shows as well. You need at least that one person
Mhm.
that you can confine in.
Mhm.
And that person can be, that'll help you through. Make sure that, you're on track and you're there are moments when you know what, you're not gonna feel like it.
Mhm.
You're down that day. Somebody that's gonna just be there when you need them.
Mhm. Yes.
And the forgiveness is key.
Yes.
Forgiveness because it helps us, right? It when I forgive, it frees me.
Mhm.
Whoop, there. That
Mhm.
release has happened. Now I can move on.
Mhm.
And then, we always talk about forgive and forget, right? And people say, well, forgive and forget, but it's not so much forgetting, but if you have the thought of it, the thought won't hurt anymore.
That's right.
It won't pierce you.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And so, now I can think back or, remember or think on a person. And now I don't feel like, I need to go slit their tires or try to hit them with my car. Or, you know, I don't need to do all of that.
Yes.
Right? I don't need to do that. I can just be over here and be chill. I don't have to be on the stakeout and
Yeah.
call some of my
Offer.
people. Yeah. So, okay, I'm not going to do it. Okay, so let me call some people that know some people that know some people so it won't be directly tied with me.
Yes. Yeah.
But then there'll be a oops happen for them.
Come on. Yes.
I'm just saying, okay. And then later on you get a call from another call of another call, then confirmation. See, we don't have to do that.
We have to do all that.
We ain't got to do that because we free now.
Yes. We free.
We
Yes.
free,
Yes.
free. Yes. I'm just trying to keep it real.
Yes. And we
Like,
laugh about that, but that's real talk. That's
but
exactly how we feel sometimes.
hey, I
Yes.
was there.
Yes.
Okay. Carla, I was there. I'm telling you.
Yes.
Sis. I
Yes.
was like, look, hey, bruh, I don't need to know, right? But can you meet me up the street? You don't even want to say nothing on the phone. Just
Yeah.
I,
That's real.
I need some sodas. Meet me at the store. Just
That's true.
fall under the line there. Okay. I'm just saying.
Yes.
But it's real.
Yes,
I
it is.
know I'm being comical with it,
Yeah,
but
that's
it is
right
real.
there.
That's how you feeling
Yes.
because you want this person totally out, right? And feeling like if they're totally gone, that erases what's going on with you. But let me tell you, not having them present
Mhm.
is not an automatic push of a button
No.
that would cause whatever happened and that abuse that was tied with them to you, it doesn't make it go away because now they're gone. It's not like pushing the button and boom, it's gone.
No,
Woo!
not at all. You can't push a button for that.
You can't push a button for that. So no matter how many phone calls you make and try to make that happen, it's not going to change it.
No.
Because you still got to deal with you.
Yes. Yes.
Outside of them. So their physical presence is not going to fix the internal that you're dealing with.
Yes.
Oh, this internal pain that you can't talk about.
No.
Oh, I've coached and counseled, some people, and I said, look, I need y'all to get to writing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Get the pen out, start writing.
Yes.
I can't write this down. I said, okay. Well, here's your next assignment. Okay, I'll write it. Go ahead and write it.
Yeah.
But writing gets it out.
It's freeing.
You got to have a way to get it out.
Yes.
Because there are some points when that pain is internalized because it's so much, because the trauma was so heavy, the abuse was just, you can't speak it. You can't formulate it into words, not even a sentence. Exactly. You can't even formulate it into words. It's like, how do I say this right here? I don't know.
Yes.
Yes.
And then you shut down because you don't have the words to say.
Yes.
And then we go within ourselves all over again.
All over again.
Even deeper because we tried it and it didn't work. And we're only going to try it one time. And if it doesn't work, I'm not dealing with it anymore. And then our lives go into more so of a turmoil because we're even angry at ourselves for even trying the first time.
Why did I try? But let me tell you this. It's worth the try.
It is.
Let me tell you. There's so many, different ones the Father has connected me with, and they're like, no, I can't, and I shouldn't, and this is too much. I'm like, you got this. Yes. And they need a little space. Okay. And we go again. And the key, and that's why I say you need that certain person, accountable to, right? That's not going to give up on you.
Yes.
Because it's not an easy process. That's the part that we got to get. It's not an easy process. It's doable.
Yes.
You will be successful. Oh, but you got to get through. But being connected with the right person to help you say, okay, you got this, sis. Come on, bro. You can do it.
Yes.
Whatever.
Yes.
Woo.
And it's difficult to find that one person that's not judgmental.
Oh, yeah, that has to be a standard. Yeah, given or built in. Yeah, you can't be judgmental.
I don't, if I'm wearing something and you say I look good and I know I look like a hot mess, you're not the one I need to be talking to. If you know all about my family and you're taking their side, I don't need to be talking to you. I need to be praying and asking God to send me or send someone to me that I can have that conversation with. It may not be family. It may not be anybody at the church. It may be somebody that you just met, Dr. LaShonne, and you have a connection with. And you spend an hour on the phone with.
Right. Come on now.
And you feel that and you know that God has connected you. And then in your mind, you're making plans. I got to get to DC to see this chick because there's just something about her that we need to meet halfway, something or another. We've even talked about that. God did that.
Yes.
So if God did that for us, God can do that for anyone because it is his desire that you be saved and you be free. So he is not going to put a roadblock in there. He's going to open up some ways for you. He's going to send some people to you. He's going to send you to someone that will be able to help you through what you're going through so you can begin to heal.
Yes.
So you can stop bleeding, like you said, on other people. So you
Yes.
start healing with his help and his guidance. And that
Mm-hmm.
that is in place for you, that you can begin to heal, because there are people that are attached to you that need to heal too.
Mm-hmm.
They have seen you go through, and
Mm-hmm.
when people are attached to you, they go through it with you.
Yes.
So they
Say
need
that.
to heal as well.
Mm-hmm.
So when you
Mm-hmm.
get to heal, then you have the ability to help them to heal as well.
Yes.
You heal collectively as a
Mm-hmm.
unit. And
Mm-hmm.
then you're like, oh, God did that. And so everybody can branch off like the disciples and
Mm-hmm.
let people know what God has done
Yes.
by experience and not by what they were told.
That's right. You
Amen.
saying something right there.
Yes. I wasn't trying to preach.
Oh, it's okay. We preach on here too now. Don't get it wrong. We share the word. We love God. But I tell you that, and that's so true, because I found where, as you said, right, you have that mutual, you have those that are assisting,
Mhm.
and because they are, you all have the mutual hate
Yes.
and the mutual dislike.
Mhm.
And as God is healing, okay, that hatred goes away. Okay, we ain't hanging out or nothing, but hello,
Yeah,
we
be
can be
cordial.
cordial.
Yes. Yes. And keep
We
it
can
moving.
be cordial and keep it moving.
Yes, absolutely. And still show love and show God, though. We
Yes.
still do that. Hi, how are you doing? So, and then, if they're saying something, because a lot of times they'll come to us and need prayer. We know they don't like us. We already know that, but they know the God in us.
Uh-huh.
So they'll come to us and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, can you pray for me? Can you pray for my uncle? Can you pray for my family member, my mom, that type of thing? Yeah.
Oh
And
yeah.
yes, we
Oh
most
yeah.
certainly will.
We sure will.
Yes, we
Sure
will.
will pray.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then we separate again, but
Mm-hmm.
they'll always come back, and then they'll tell somebody else, and then they'll be like that, in awe, because they know how they've treated you, but yet
Mm-hmm.
showed them the love of Christ. They're
Yes.
like, wow, she still did that. There must be something to what she's got.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I need to find out a little bit more.
Yes.
You know,
Walking in the love of God.
yes, yes, must.
We must.
Yes.
And sometimes there may be a slight struggle
Mhm.
because our mind wants to, like, oh, you remember? It's like, okay, no, no, I'm not going there.
Your mind will tell you that.
Yeah, right. It's like, nope, and keep it moving.
Yes, yes,
Because you know what? You don't have to stay there.
no.
That's a point. That's a moment in time, and then you move on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness!
Yes.
When I can't speak my pain, there is deliverance for me. When I can't speak my pain, there is hope for me. When I can't speak my pain, God will deliver me.
Yes, he will.
And but I have to keep my hope alive.
Mm-hmm.
I have to keep my focal on Him.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not going into each step. Step one would be this, step two would be that. No, because for each person it's different.
Different. Yes, it is.
Each person is different.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell you this, the Father will definitely send you. That's my prayer for those that are watching and those that'll come back to watch the replay. If you're in that place where you need assistance, you need deliverance, you need to come up and out of that pain, my prayer for you is that the Father will bring you deliverance, connecting you with the right people. And you know what? Inbox me if you don't have that, such person. We'll definitely, as Carla was saying, we will pray.
Yes, yes. And I also
Because,
want to say, anyone that wants the book that cannot afford the book, inbox as well, and I'll be more than happy to send them to you.
She said send her an inbox.
Yes.
Now the book is on Amazon. I'm sorry. I just need to show the first one.
Yeah.
First book, Silence Behind the Silence. I still feel like I could preach on that picture. I'm not. In fact, that's why I had to put it down. Every time I look at it, I do. Every time I look at it, I was telling my sister, I said, girl, look at this picture. She said, girl, I said, I know, right? Oh, we was talking about this. Ooh.
Everywhere you go, there's silence, and there was silence in
Yes.
front of me, silence behind me. I couldn't go anywhere. That again, that abyss of blackness was there, and there was nobody there but me. Silence.
You feeling all alone? God is here for you.
Yes. Amen.
Just connect to the stream.
Yes.
Huh.
Mhm.
And guess what she's doing now? She speaks her silence. That's behind her, but that's what the whole book looks like. She speaks her silence. They're on the Amazon. And she's working on number 3.
Yes. My
All
deliverance.
right. Oh, hey.
Girl, don't even do it. Don't do it. Don't do it, please.
I'm not. He said my deliverance.
Because you talk about so much
Yeah.
about what has happened to you, the fears, the pain, the hurt, the disappointment. But people also need to know that you've been delivered from those things as well.
Yes.
There is deliverance.
Yes.
There is hope. I had hope. I had some peace within those things too, but it wasn't the everlasting that I had. It was intermittent because I was intermittent.
Come on.
I gave God intermittent stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I got what I gave.
You put in.
Yes. So when I decided that enough was enough and I need to jump in wholeheartedly, because I know where my help come from. And I was tired. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yes.
When I told the Lord yes, and I meant that yes.
Come on.
I meant it unconditionally. I give unconditional love. I'm not loving anybody on the condition of what they look like or what they've done to me. God loves me in spite of everything that I've done. And so when I said yes, there he was.
There he was.
And he has not left me because he said he was not going to. And I can count on his word. He is not a man that he should lie, not a son of man that he should
repent.
I believe what he said, and we will have deliverance. We will have peace in the midnight hour, whether it's 2:00 in the morning, 1:30 in the afternoon. If that's your midnight hour, he's there.
He is.
Always there.
Always. Always. There is deliverance for us. There is hope. And freedom is ours. Victory.
Yes.
Victory is mine. I know y'all remember that song.
Yes, love that song.
Victory is mine.
Yes. Yes. Amen. You'll have me singing in a minute. I'm singing in my head. So
I know, me too. I'm like, victory is mine.
Yeah. I told Satan. Yeah.
Yeah, I was singing it too.
I'm gonna stay away from you.
Whatever.
Not gonna happen.
Carla, I really have enjoyed this conversation.
I bless God.
This show, I just thank the Father that He blesses every show, and this show has been phenomenal. Really getting into, when you have that pain, how to be free.
Yes,
that's the bottom line.
Yes.
And I thank you for sharing, some nuggets with us this evening. You have any final words before we sign off?
Stop co-signing the silence.
Oh, I did love that. Yes.
Stop co-signing the silence. You don't have to shut up anymore. Stop.
Stop co-signing the silence. That puts it in a nutshell. Hey, I want to thank Elder Carla Fry for joining us. You have been such a blessing. Don't hang up just yet. You've been such a blessing, and we thank you for this opportunity to be with us and serve this evening. Thank you, everyone who has joined in, or if you're watching the replay, for this mindful conversation on Shifting Mindset Live Show. I am drLaShonne, the founder of Embrace the Change, and we thank you. And until our next show, which will be October 14th, is our next show. And that one, we have a great speaker. I think we're talking about being something with millionaire. I have to find it. Ooh, that's a good one too. October 14th. I'm going to get the flyer out. That way I won't misquote it. October 14th is the next show. Like I said, we're booked up to November. So we thank you. And until the next time.